June, she just said June to me, honey. Do you understand the June date? She just drew June really big, and she just sent me balloons, and she's validating. Now, have you been seeing the ladybugs or watching for the ladybugs? She's talking about the ladybugs. She just threw ladybugs everywhere.
I just feel like it's a new sign for you to start to pay attention to, because I feel like it's more of a directional sign. So I just
want to honor it, okay? She's like, tired of paying attention to ladybugs. Kelly, my name is Mary. I'm her grandmother. We've had a chance to talk before. I have just a few things to say. Say June and talk about the ladybugs first. And I said, I hear you, okay? There's validation with that. She's talking to me about taking on the second side business. Not for you, for somebody else. I just keep hearing there's a blessing for the second side business. I'm going to leave it because it goes to somebody else in the family, and I just have to honor because I hear it. And my God said I heard it correctly, so I just need to pass and leave it because someone's going to claim that and be like, oh, good, it's their way of saying it's going to work out, and I should transition into it, okay? So there's validation with that. There's also something about somebody's been wearing her ring a lot lately. She's had my ring one often. There's just a few pieces of jewelry for her, not many. So just ask who's been doing that, okay? Because again, that can get into cousins and aunts and uncles. She's validating about that. Now she's talking to me about becoming a mom.
I do.
Okay, so she's acknowledging about you being a mom, but there's something about somebody becoming a mom. So somebody's thinking about having a baby again. Okay, I'm gonna honor it. Don't freak out. That's why she said someone, and I just feel like I'm moving. With her being a grandmother, she has messages for a bunch of people, okay? So I'm just gonna honor everybody. Somebody's thinking about doing a second business. There's birthday balloons for the month of June. She's saying she's been sending you ladybugs. There's an acknowledgement of somebody becoming a mom. So this would be first child for somebody because I kept hearing becoming. So somebody's actually trying or in the process of thinking of. I don't feel the soul gift like I did with over here with Dorothy. This is more of like somebody's already in the planning process and stepping into it a little further, okay? So she's validating about that. Go ahead, honey. And November, she just said November to me. And she's passing me balloons, so somebody would have just had a birthday or anniversary in November. She just said July to me. Do you understand July? Okay, because she's like, she knows November, but she doesn't recognize July as she passes it. So it just means November will make sense to you. There might be two dates, birthday and anniversary, one. And she's acknowledging that one date is known and one isn't. So I just have to leave July with you. I'm asking for the exact date, and she just said July 14th. Okay? So that's somebody else she's trying to acknowledge that she's with a lot. And again, that can be family, second family, or friend. I just heard July 14th, and I could hear her give that clear as day, okay? She's not your only person, so I'm just catching a little bit from her because she's trying to give messages for the whole as a family. Somebody's putting her ornaments out for Christmas. Now, who has your mom's ornaments as well? Rose. Okay, so remember how I said I'll piggyback some of their information? This is why they're stepping in. And I know that you guys have some of mom's ornaments as well, and I feel like I'm hanging them on the tree. You know those old ceramic Christmas trees with the plug-in lights? Do you guys still have that from your mom as well? Or does somebody still have that?
I have one, but it's
That's okay. I just keep feeling like I want to set it out with the ornaments, and I have to honor it, and I keep hearing your mom say, it needs to be done. So if you do that, and it connects with her ornaments, and you're honoring that piece, I just have to validate it's her making me feel like I'm at Christmas at your house. So it's just her validation. And the old little lights that used to sit in the windows, they would have to like tape down. Somebody still has some of them in an old box and only half of them are working. And I smell cardboard. So she's validating. Because she's making me feel like you're only really using the ornaments. But then she's making me feel pieces that you guys have, and then pieces that are still saved that aren't actually utilized. Do you understand it? Good, thank you, good. So again, I'm going to piggyback to both of them. There's also a connection with the month of April. She's like, say April to my girls. And I'm like, I hear you. There's also a connection with planting the gardenias. Somebody did that for her. Ask, okay? Because if you guys didn't do that, whether friend or family, somebody actually planted gardenias in her honor, and she's validating that. Somebody also kept flowers from the service. So if somebody still has like dried roses or plants, good. So I'm getting the piggybacking information. There's also an exact date of March 23rd. Exact date of March 23rd. Somebody she's trying to say happy early birthday to. And she's validating. She's also mentioning Gloria. She's singing Gloria. Somebody else that's with her, you guys know some of her friends, but not all. Gloria would have been passed before your mom, Rosie, and I keep hearing they spend a lot of time together. Now, this is someone she would have been friends with. They lost contact. They came back into contact around the age of 30. Then she lost contact with her again. She wasn't one of the people there to greet her, but she is somebody she spends a lot of time with on the other side. She would have been in transition, and she was crossed over before your mom, Rosie, and I keep hearing they're together, and they spend a lot of time together, and I just felt Gloria's behind, okay? Because I know you guys know some of her friends, but not all. And keeping the Bible, she's talking about keeping the Bible. And something about the jewelry being separated and broken up. But did you guys not keep all of it? Or some of the stuff you kept is like not necessarily your taste and you wouldn't use it, but you're honoring her? Good. I feel the stages of all that. Okay, 'cause she's like, some of it they think is ugly. And she goes, and they would never wear it. But Kelly, I'm happy they kept it. Do you understand it? Good. And I don't know what this is about. This whole section smells like tea and toast. So somebody just stepped in behind your mom, Rosie. I'll catch who that is. There's a little itty bitty woman. She can belong to anybody here. She's trying to piggyback off of Marion Rose. She's about 4'10", and I smell Earl Grey tea and toast dipped in Earl Grey tea. So I just have to honor she's here. But she's 4'10", and she's trying to piggyback off of Rosie. So if anybody can claim her. I'm still with your mom and Mary, but I'm going to honor other people as they shift in, okay? So she's acknowledging. There's also a connection with the month of May and the month of September. Do you understand? I hear you guys recognize May, and she's trying to give September as well. And there is an anniversary date in one of those months as well. She's like birth dates. There's 2 birth dates, and then she just showed me wedding bells. So somebody's wedding anniversary in May coming up. Just trying to say happy early anniversary. Again, friends and family, okay? So I have to honor that. There's also a connection with the number 79. She just said 79 to me. Gosh, she's so strong. Somebody just turned 79 or is about to turn 79. That she's trying to give a happy 79th birthday to. So I just have to honor that, okay? Okay, I'm going to leave it with you guys because it sounds like you're recognizing it, and they're saying to me some of the dates I gave you guys will start to hit you after you leave, especially when they get into dates. If you guys aren't that great with dates, or sometimes you can get very emotionally caught up. You're not thinking about everyone that's like in the family or friends. So she's honoring about that. Now, have you guys been watching for the cardinals from her, by the way? She's like, I send burns everywhere, but Kelly, you have to tell them this to watch for the red ones. I'm sending the cardinals the most. So it's her way of saying she's validating about that. I love that she gave about the engagement and the marriage coming up. So even though she watches over the 2 of you and watches over grandkids, that's the grandson she's with the most. She just flew hawks. So tell him to watch for hawks as a sign from your mom, Rosie. It's one of the ways she says, hey, I'm here and I'm watching out for you. And that's a special sign personally for him is what I hear, okay? So it's a way that she reaches out to him. She's also giving congratulations on the new car. Okay, something about the new vehicle. If you understand it, honey, she's like, help him with that new vehicle. Talk about the new vehicle, whatever. Like, I hear you. So there's a validation with that, okay? So she's validating. There's also a connection with the number 16. She just said 16 to me. November 16th, because it just passed. And she's trying to give a happy belated birthday for someone for November 16th. Now, I just saw pink balloons. I'm going to step out of the family into friends. So that would go to a female friend. So I'm going to leave that with you guys because there's still friends still here for her that are missing her. And when she made me feel the pink balloons, I stepped out of the family bloodline. And I heard her give November 16th exact date. So I'm just going to honor it, honey, because it's important, okay? She's so happy. She's like, this means just as much to me as it does to them. She's like, I just need them to know that I'm at peace. Do you understand her thanking you for taking care of her? She's like, tell them how much I love them for the support. Doesn't always have to be 24/7 care because I don't feel like it's around the clock. She's just saying to me that you guys were by her side and how much she appreciates the things that you guys ended up laying down and sacrificing to make sure you could be there for her when you had a chance to. Do you understand it? She's also acknowledging you guys need to know that she didn't suffer. And I feel like I'm looking at you a little bit more, that that's something on your heart that you've been wondering. Was she at peace in those last moments? And she's like, this is for both my daughters. But she made me come right to you, and she's like, but it's something that she questions all the time. Tell them both I was a piece and I felt very loved. Her dad was the first one that she walked into. So here there's 3 people there to greet her. Dad was crossed before her. Dad's the first one that she transitioned into, and he had already been standing beside her in spirit when she took those last breaths. So they're validating. He was the first one there to greet her. So I have to honor that. There's also a Charles connection. In this section right here, somebody just stepped in behind Rosie, trying to say Charles. So I just have to honor he's here. He does feel like an uncle to me, and he's like Uncle Charlie. Okay, Uncle Charlie. So if anybody can claim them, so I'm just gonna honor. Okay. Now, if your Uncle Charles or your Charles piggybacks, I will wait and see. Now remember, I'll pick up older ancestors, and sometimes they can be 8 or 9 generations back, so I just have to honor that. But besides the dates, you guys recognize everything Mom is saying, so those dates will come. Do you understand? Good, perfect, so that's what matters. There's also validation with changing the bedrooms around. I'm looking at you with this. Do you understand it? Talk about changing the bedrooms around and painting and hanging the new curtains, and tell them to pull, it's okay to pull the floor up and put new floor down too. Do you understand it? Good. So she's helping you guys. She's like, learn the process of that and say that I'm watching this, and then I just watched her do everything in front of me, so she's validating you're in the process of that, and that's going on. So if you have some remodeling in the house, she's validating that. So it's important that she gave me that. That's what I keep hearing. I'm helping with that too, and I'm like, I hear you. There's also a connection with the song Old Rugged Cross. Your grandmother just stepped in behind her. Your mom, Rosie's mom, I just felt her step in. She's the one singing Old Rugged Cross to me. There's a connection with her with that song on a soul level, and somebody here actually thinks of that song in honor of your grandmother, so I just have to validate it, because she just scooted in behind Mom, and I hear your mom is not the only one with the name of Rose, and it goes back through the family, and your grandmother stepped in, and she's like, I'm here too, and I can hear the Old Rugged Cross, so I know that she's a namesake. Mom's a namesake, and it goes back through the genealogy. So there's honoring and validation with that. There's also connection with somebody still thinking about naming a baby after her here. Okay, so I need to leave that with you guys, because if you guys didn't do that with your children, it just means, do you understand it? Good. Somebody else is still thinking about doing that, meaning it's on somebody's heart or mind to honor her when some of these new babies are born into the family. So I'm going to honor that she's already seeing that. I feel like there's a connection with the namesake here with a first or middle name, okay, as far as birth name. And then I can feel your grandmother stepping in. I feel that there's other people in spirit by the name of Rose, and I hear it's an ancestry name. So there's people in spirit with Mom with that same name. There's somebody here, and then someone in the younger generation has actually thought about using her name, whether first or middle. So it just means she sees that honoring, and I keep hearing it's important that she validates that. So that's great validation. I love that. So whoever's here who has that namesake, besides watching over your son, that's that second grandchild that she's with. Do you understand it? Yeah. She's like, that's the second grandchild I'm with, even though I'm watching over all of them. They're the 2 she's with the strongest, okay? So she's honoring about that, and then she's talking to the grandchild. And again, whether first or middle. Is it a middle name? Okay, because I said, tell me if it's first or middle. She's like, it's the middle name. And I'm like, I hear you. So it's her validation that somebody actually has her middle name, that's a granddaughter for her, and she's thankful for that, okay? And she's saying to me, she was really honored by that when that happened, but that she does see younger generations are also thinking about carrying that forward, so she should have appreciation for it. It means a lot to her. But the cardinals are a big sign, even though she's going to be sending you guys birds, so just be open to that sign, okay? All right, they're telling me I have a couple more, another minute or 2 with her. She's doing great. I'm getting my chest shut down. There's a gentleman trying to piggyback off of her, complications with lung cancer. How do you guys recognize that? He just stepped in behind Mom, and he's like, tell them I'm here. And he's shouting behind your mom. And he just shut my lungs down. And he's like, Kelly, for me, it was lung cancer. And I feel like it starts in the lungs. It starts to spread a little bit into the stomach. I can feel it going through the lymph nodes. Please know they're together. I smell smoke. So he's a heavy smoker. Yeah. You know what he just said to me? Did you just see my daughter roll her eyes at me? He said, because they tried to get me to quit for years. And they always thought I ended up getting the lung cancer because of my smoking, even though there was other medical factors involved, Kelly. So he's saying to me it's the blend of both, but he's shutting my lungs down. I can feel him kind of slide in behind mom, and he's acknowledging about the lung cancer. I do feel like it took him pretty fast in the end, even though he struggled with it for a little bit. And he's making me feel like he couldn't breathe on his own in the end. And he goes, but it was progressive, it was quick in the end. And I'm like, I hear you. But I can smell the smoke, watch for the smell of smoke for him. It's one of the ways he comes through. And he's trying to acknowledge to me some of his life choices before he got the cancer. Even though I feel like it played a part, I know it's not the only reason that the cancer happened. Do you understand it? What's with the connection with the asbestos? There's a gentleman that just stepped in behind Dad. Hold on a minute. I see if I can catch his name. He's 2 inches taller than your dad. He would have had problems with lungs as well. Dad's side of the family. He's 4 generations past Dad. And he would have worked in a factory where there was asbestos. And I can feel him that he was shut down from his lungs as well. I just have to honor it, okay? Because if I have one loved one that has lung issues, if anybody else is with them, even if the passing is very similar, even though your dad's acknowledging lung cancer, and then I can feel fluid on this other person's lungs and they couldn't breathe, and I think it's caused by asbestos, I'll feel the piggybacking. So I just have to honor that he's here. You guys haven't recognized him. He does feel like an uncle. I'm being told he's 4 generations past Dad, but your mom wants you to know that they're both together. I'm hoping for him to come through too, because I keep hearing they were 2 big people for you. They're also acknowledging the babies with them. There's a miscarriage with them. Good. I keep hearing you guys have a sibling on the other side. Do you understand it? Early pregnancy, under 3 months. She never found out if it was a boy or girl. It's a brother. So I just felt him step in behind Dad. She's like, Kelly, our child's with us. And I said, okay. And she's like, yes, it's a sibling from my daughters. And I said, I hear you. And she's like, my son's with us. So, and she was very early in pregnancy, under 3 months. They never found out if it was a boy or girl. So it was something with their hearts until they transitioned to the other side. He was there for both of them. And she's saying to me it's something that she carried for many years and always had those questions, and so did you. So please know you have a brother on the other side, and one day you guys will have a chance to meet him. That's great validation. So I love that she's honoring about him as well, because I hear it's important validation in the past, okay? All right, they're giving me 1 more minute, and then we're going to transition on. We'll get into James and Helen, and oh my goodness. And I just had this whole other group step in, so I'm going to get flooded with some more names. Catherine, if anybody can claim her. Okay, good. She's like, I'm here. Tell them I'm here. Good. And how do you claim Mary as well? Mary's just behind Catherine. Okay, so we'll wait for that, okay? So I'm going to start to come over there a little bit. Now I'm going to catch Edward, I'm going to catch James and Helen. I'll probably transition over here and then come back, okay? So they're going to have me going back and forth for a little bit. I don't know why she's saying this, but I feel like it's important for you guys to know, and I think it goes back to her telling me she was at peace at the time of passing. She's like, tell them I wasn't afraid. Because there's something about not everybody having a chance to be there. She didn't have a chance to say goodbye to everybody. There's something left on your hearts about what it was like for her in those moments. That's why I could feel that dad energy stepping in for her as far as her dad. But then they wanted to honor that your dad is with her as well and they're together. So just know that they're together. But watch for the small smoke from dad. And if you guys see 2 cardinals or more gathering, that's mom and dad visiting together. Your dad moves stuff around in the house, by the way, to get your attention. He's a little bit more ornery than mom. Do you understand it? Good. Because he's like, tell the girls to pay attention. He's like, it takes me a lot of energy to do. But sometimes I'll start to move things around in the house just to try to grab their attention. And I said, I hear you. So I'm just validating it, okay? So that's one of the things to watch for from him. Roger. If everybody recognizes Roger, he just stepped in. Remember how I said I may not be done with Mary and I'm getting a little bit from her? Because there might be somebody else. How do you connect with Roger, honey? Okay, he's like, Kelly, I was behind Mary the whole time because I knew I wasn't done with you. Is this his first time to come through? He's like, it's my first time and I'm 17 here. And I'm like, good for you, honey. And he's like, some people called me Raj, by the way. I think part of the reason why he's trying to come through is he's just trying to give peace to the family. But he just stepped in right behind Mary. And I knew I wasn't done with her. But if she gives up the rest of the energy for him, that's okay. but he's excited. And Roger's not a common name. It's not like me picking up on John. But he stepped right in and he's like, Kelly, I'm Roger. And I said, I hear you. And he's like, call me Raj. He's like, a lot of people call me Raj. And then I just feel like a real protective stance from him. So it just means he's a protector of your husband. I feel like he's a safety guardian for him. He watches over his safety. He is telling me he's 17 years old on the other side, so I'm telling him good for him because he's young and happy. But he's like, I choose to be 17 here. Tell him to watch for Nichols. It's one of the ways that he comes through. There's also a connection with him trying to give a happy belated birthday for September. He's also given a July birth date as well. Somebody's anniversary is coming in December, and there's also something with the 14th. So he just gave me all 4 of those dates. Whether family or friends, I'm going to honor, but I just heard all 4 dates. And even if he's a little unexpected, I'm being told he wanted you to pass to your hubby that he's the person that's with him the most right now in spirit. There's also a promotion coming with work. Do you understand about the promotion? He's like, say congratulations for that promotion. It's one of the reasons I'm here. And tell them I know about the promotion coming. And say I said congratulations. And he says when he's with him, he's also watching over you. And then I hear there's soul assignment with Roger, with your youngest child. So he watches over your husband and your youngest child, there's soul assignment with that child, okay? There's also connection really big. He just keeps drawing a big 7. So something with the 7th or the month of July. He already gave July, so it just means there's a double piggybacking, and there's a second date with that July, okay? So I'm going to honor that as well. All right, I'm only going to have him for another minute. Just because him and Mary were sharing time, and some of the stuff that Mary said will come because a lot of it belongs to some of the old other people in the family. So I'm going to honor that. He said, Kelly, he said, I want Helen to have a chance to talk to her family, so I'm going to step out. He said, I just really had to say how I'm watching over them, and I had to give congratulations for the promotion. So I just caught a little bit from him in case there's another big person for you a little bit, because Mary said there was someone else on your mind, and he was kind of a surprise person, which means we'll wait and see if I come back and get the other person in a little bit, okay? And sometimes it's about they want their own time with you, so I feel like it's more about that type of situation. So I'll come back. Mary and Roger, surprises for you today, but here the information and the messages they gave are important for the rest of the family as a whole, especially with it being right around the holidays, honey, so it's important, okay? Right, so I'm going to move into James, Helen, and Edward. He's so excited. Did you guys call him Ed? He's like, some people called me Ed, some people called me Eddie, but I'm here.
Eddie, I'm here.
Eddie.
Do you understand it? Good. He's so excited about talking to you guys, so we're going to take our time with this. Do you understand him saying to me, I'm not sick here anymore?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Kelly, I can walk and I'm free. Do you guys understand that? What's the issues with the walking, or him feeling like he couldn't really physically get around in the end? Because he's like, I feel like I'm finally myself again and I'm not sick. And I'm freer than I was when I was there. So I just know there was some limiting stuff with his health. So
Eddie's my brother, but Edward is my dad, and he was bedridden.
You understand it. Thank you. Good, because he's validating, okay? So if there's a namesake. Now, I do feel like I'm going to call Dad Ed. So even if friends called him that, you guys would recognize that as Edward. Do you understand it?
Yes.
But I feel the bedridden. He's talking to me about how he couldn't get around. He's shutting my legs down, and he keeps talking to me about physically being able to walk again. So he's really excited about talking to you guys. So we're gonna take our time with this. I'm like, one thing at a time. Is this your first chance to talk to him, by the way? He's 19. I said, tell me how young you are first. He's like, tell them I'm 19 again. And I'm like, okay. Now, what's with Trace and the ancestry? Okay, so somebody has that on their heart, and somebody's been thinking about stepping into that, and I hear Edward won't be the only person in the family guiding the steps with the ancestry. So I just have to honor it, because it just means it's on somebody's mind, okay? Somebody still has a timepiece or watch of his. He's talking about having a watch. So somebody still has a watch. Somebody still has like his wallet or contents of the wallet. Good, thank you, because he's validating that. Somebody still has one of his coats or jackets. He's like, there's just a few pieces of clothing, not many, Kelly. Somebody has an old tie clip. Somebody has one of his jackets. I know you guys recognize the wallet. Somebody still actually held onto the license as well. But he does make me feel like he couldn't really get out of bed for a while in the end. But I'm being told he was already seeing loved ones in spirit before he transitioned. So he's like, I already saw them. They were already talking to me. I knew where they were there before I left. So I'm just validating that I feel it, honey, okay? He's so excited about talking to you. So I was like, one thing at a time. Now, how are you guys connected?
We're sisters.
Sisters? Good, 'cause he's like, they're both my girls. That's what I keep hearing. Good. And I feel like I'm putting you guys on a pedestal a little bit. So he always did everything he could to take care of you. Now he's saying to me, he showed you he loved you through his actions, but I feel like he feels like he wasn't vocal a lot. And it was hard for him to say, I love you or I'm proud of you. So please know he's saying to me, tell them that I love them and I'm proud of them. Because it wasn't something I said enough when I was there, Kelly. So I'm just honoring that. There's also a connection with the number 57. You just said 57 to me. So some of you are just turned 57 or about to turn 57. There's a 57th birthday that he's trying to honor. I'm going to leave that with you guys because that could be in the friends and family. So I'm just going to honor that he's given a happy 57th birthday. There's also a connection with the month of October. He just said October to me. He's like, October's big. And I'm like, I hear you. He goes, that one, Kelly, they'll recognize it. He snapped his fingers to me. Do you understand it? He's talking about fixing the roof or something with the roof. Okay, I'm going to leave that with you guys because I just saw a caution sign. So it just means somebody in the family actually knows that they need to do that. And I keep hearing now's the time to do it sooner than later so there's not more damage. So I need to leave that with you guys because somebody's going to recognize that, okay? So he's honoring about that. Now there's also a lady walking up and down the aisle by the name of Elizabeth, if anybody can claim her. And I hear she should be claimed, Elizabeth. And there's a Betty connection. I just keep hearing Betty. So her proper name was Elizabeth, but she would have went by Betty. And then there's also another Betty trying to piggyback. So, okay. You recognize this as Elizabeth Betty. Okay, good. We'll wait for that, okay? Because she's like walking up and down as I'm talking to Edward before I move into James and Helen. And she's trying to grab my attention. And I'm like, I see you, honey. So I'm just going to honor that I feel her, okay? All right, let me hear what else I can hear from him. So you guys understand the Eddie connection?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good, perfect. How many children total? How many siblings do you guys have?
It's 5 total.
Good, because I kept hearing you're not the only children and neither is Eddie, but I feel like Dad's with the second one the most is what I hear. Do you guys understand that? He goes, they know why I just said that, Kelly. Say I'm with the second child. They're my daughters, but I kept feeling like it's the two of you and Eddie, and I wanted to add 2 other children. So I heard the 2, and then he goes, but I'm with my second. So there was a double piggybacking of the 2, giving me 2 past you guys and Eddie, because there was always already the validation of the namesake. Do you understand it? Okay, perfect. So as long as that matters. 55. I just heard 55. And 49. One's a birth date and one's an anniversary date because they'll give years of marriage too. So I'm just going to honor that, okay? My guide said leave both of those with you guys because you'll have a chance to claim them and you'll have a chance to understand them. So I'm just going to honor it. He's so excited about talking to you guys. He said one of the most difficult things for me, Kelly, was not being able to get out of bed and walk. He said because I would have given anything to put my feet on the floor and just stand, even if it was just for a couple minutes. And I said, I hear you. He struggled with walking before the bedridden though, because he's like, I was all in the process with the walking. My walking didn't just shut down when it happened when I was bedridden. It happened in stages. Do you understand it? So that's why when they were making me feel like he was really lethargic and I felt like he had trouble getting around and he couldn't walk, I was feeling the stages of it at the very beginning when he was validating that. And that's why he kept saying, tell them I'm free and I don't have that anymore. Because they're saying to me, it's one of the things that are going to give you guys the most peace is that he doesn't have that suffering anymore. He's saying to me he's making connections with you guys in dreams. So just means he's trying to come with you guys in that way. So I just keep hearing, I'm trying to connect with them in dreams, Kelly. It's one of my ways I'm trying to come through for my kids. Let them know to watch out for me. And I do hear you guys are going to have a chance to start having some experiences with him after his messages today. It just means it's going to open you up a little bit more for the dream visitation. So I'm just going to honor it, honey, okay? Because that's going to, you guys are going to grow into that is what I hear, okay? Let me hear what else I can hear. He said, I know my kids know I love them, but I just kept having to tell you that I love them and that I was proud of them. Because I feel like I didn't say it enough and they deserved it more from me. Do you understand it? He's talking about his tools still being here. He's like, I love all the tools they still kept. Do you understand that? So he's validating about that. There's also transition into downsizing and moving into a smaller home. So there's a blessing for that, because he's like, say I know about the transition into the smaller home and the downsizing, and say it was the right thing to do. Do you understand that? So please know he wasn't the only person giving a helping hand with that, and he's validating about that as well, okay? I know you guys understand everything except for like 2 or 3 of those numbers I gave, which is wonderful. All right, I'm gonna have a little bit of time with him because there might be a second person stepping in a minute or in a little while, but he wanted to make sure he had a chance to give you guys that. I feel blue jays everywhere. I said, give me a sign for your daughters to watch for as well, besides anything else you validated. And he's like, Kelly, tell them to pay attention to the blue jays. And I said, I hear you. They'll use birds. It's not always cardinals. And birds are always a representation of their souls being free and them kind of watching over you. So it makes sense why he would choose that as one of the signs for you guys to watch for. So I'm just going to honor it, okay? Okay, perfect. And he's shouting about March before he leaves. He's like, say March, say March. Okay, the 49th anniversary date, it was like a wedding date. Remember when he said 49? The 49th year is coming in March. So he wanted to give me more validation about it so you guys can figure out who that goes to, okay? I do feel like I'm looking at friends though. Very distant family members of someone he would have saw a second family. So I just have to honor that. The 49th anniversary is March. He wanted to make sure he gave it. We picked up from the month instead of the name. So that's what my guides just said to me. So that's okay, because I heard him say March. Tell them both I love them. I'm not the only person coming through, but I wanted them to have a few minutes with me. He's saying to me to say thank you for telling him it was okay to go. Do you understand it? Because he's like, tell them thank you for holding my hand and tell them thank you for telling me it was okay to go. Because he's making me feel like he was actually kind of holding on for you guys. Did you guys feel that? Did you feel like he was staying for you guys? Okay. Because he's admitting to me that, remember how he said he was already seeing people in spirit before he transitioned? He's admitting to me that he actually held on a little bit longer, could have left a little sooner, but he was actually trying to stay for you guys. So he's saying to me, once you guys had a chance to say it was okay to go, it made it easier for him to let go and be at peace with this transition. So they're saying to me it's important that I pass that to you guys. He felt very loved by you guys in the end. That's what I hear. And the old music records. He just stacked all his records. Do you guys still have all his records? Or somebody still has his music? Somebody still has 1 or 2, okay? But he's making me feel the record collection, so it just means somebody has that. Okay, perfect. If you understand it, honey, because he's validating about the music. And I feel like when you guys listen to that, you're going to be celebrating with him and he's going to be there in spirit. He did wonderful. I wish I would have gotten more out of him, but he's going to step out only because he's hoping to have a chance for someone else to step in with you guys for a little bit, okay? There's also a loss in the sibling.
He was like a sibling.
He was like it.
Huh?
He was like our
a
sibling.
Okay, I just hear they're together. Good, so I can just feel him. So I just have to honor that, okay? So if I end up picking up on anything about that, if you guys can claim that, I can feel him stepping in behind Dad, and he's like, Kelly, I'm here too, and I'm like, I hear you. So I'm just gonna validate that, okay? And that might be someone else that steps in with that second person for you guys in a little bit if I have a chance to catch them. But it was important for today to have a chance to give you guys a couple minutes of love, which is great. All right, we're gonna move into James and Helen. But I'm gonna catch a few more names really quick before I come to James